There, I got about 50% power left before this dies out. Thought I'd come out for a few minutes. Hey, Blue, how you doing? This should be dying out in about 20 minutes, so I'm gonna ride it out. You know, I walk around here all the time at night, in between the houses without a flashlight. I was reading today that copperheads, I've seen two this week, and I ran over one about a month ago with a lawnmower. It said they are most active in the late afternoon, crawling around looking for stuff. But they said one of the worst times for them is on a hot summer night just after it's rained, like right now. So I'm going to be a little more careful. Hey, Major Mom, how you doing? Yeah, I don't think that storm's a big deal, just a lot of water. It's on the other side of Rita. It's going up the east side, it looked like. Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to get bit by a venomous snake, that's one you'd like to get bit by. And they act like it's no big deal. But look on YouTube. It is a big deal. It's a hospital stay sometimes. It doesn't have the potency of the rattlesnake venom, but I don't want to get bit by one. I didn't start seeing them. They're all over supposedly, but until about a month ago, I ran over one with a lawnmower, and I saw two crossing the road in the last week. They try and get away from you, but if you step on them, it doesn't matter. They're beautiful snakes, gorgeous colors. Look on them. There's just a ton of information on them. They cover a big part of the United States. Oh yeah, when I looked at it, it looked like the east side and like part of the central state. They get big warnings tomorrow. We're supposed to get rain here because of it, but no big deal. Hilton Head's going to get rain, but it doesn't look like that big a deal yet. The media has realized where the advertising dollars come from. Yeah, you got to step on them though. If they see you, they'll try and get the hell away from you. And people get bit by them all sorts of ways. There's a million videos on YouTube of copperhead bites. You can watch them happen. Oh yeah, they're easy to step on. They're almost impossible to see looking down in the grass. It's like the most perfect camouflage ever. Yeah, glad you didn't step on them. There's tons of books on them and stuff, but their venom is not as potent as the other snakes. Oh really? See, so she's on the Tampa side, so maybe it's just rain though, I think. And they say it's very painful too, the bite. And I've looked it up. They strike at 20 feet per second. So you could forget about getting out of the way. Yeah, they are gorgeous snakes. Beautiful. They sure are. Yeah, I saw two of them. I saw one the other day going to empty the trash, and I saw another one on my way to Washington the other day. I had to swerve to miss that one. All those venomous snakes have the most beautiful markings and colorings. Look up a gaboon viper. Talk about a gorgeous snake. They crawl forward like a worm, not like sideways. A gaboon viper. And they try to avoid people too. Yeah, I think we got about an inch of rain. I'll have to look on my rain gauge. Yeah, that's right. Thick but not long. That's right. Yep. Weather, well, today, we've had hot weather. It's been down quite a bit. We don't have like the 99s. But like today, I think 90, but high humidity. If you get lower humidity, which was weird when we had that super baking weather about a week ago, the humidity was low. So even though it was hot, it wasn't that bad. But lately, it hasn't been that hot. The humidity's been like 89, 92. It's miserable. Right now, we got a good rain shower earlier this afternoon. Now, I was 3 miles east of here, went and got a Mexican dinner, and they didn't get any rain at all. And it rained cats and dogs here for about an hour. Oh, you're going to be getting some, Meeser Mom. Yeah. Yeah, lots of noise here at night. You better like it because it's deafening. Oh, good for you. Have fun. You mean the sounds, Meeser Mom? I don't even know what's making these noises, to tell you the truth. It's crazy to me. I mean, there's lots of insects around here, right? Fire ants, cockroaches, and anything you can imagine. Stuff I don't recognize. Today I saw this bright orange and black big-ass hornet. I mean, just all sorts of bugs. And they're just all around all the time. I mean, it's just a breeding ground for like ticks. I see these deer, and you just wonder how these deer, just don't get eaten alive over their life or catch something. Oh, you like them that much, huh? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, walking's not bad. I walk all over at night. I'm getting a little more careful about it after I read that article on copperhead. It's a pain in the ass getting bit by one of those, and about a $400,000 bill. You got to watch what you're reading in books too. I bought a book by Levy, big giant book on venomous snakes. Read it over the winter, and he talked about the venom's one thing, the bacteria from their fangs is another. It's like, okay, well, that makes sense, doesn't it? And I was at a rattlesnake roundup down in Wiggum, Georgia, and there were two rattlesnake experts there. One was a PhD in biology, and the other one was just a guy that does it for a living, going around giving lectures to schools and museums and stuff like that. And they both said that's a bunch of bullshit, that the bacteria on the fang of a snake doesn't mean squat. It's negligible. You don't have to worry about it at all. It's not a factor in getting bit. So there you go. Yeah, a lot of ticks, yeah. Oh, good for you. Yeah, I didn't go to that again because I think you've been there once. You've been there a million times. They have another one in Claxton, which isn't as good as that one. See, that was a very famous rattlesnake roundup for years, where they used to skin them and cook them and chop their heads off and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's all taboo now. They're not doing that in this state. It's been lobbying, education. It's like how important they are for the environment. No snakes were killed. And as a matter of fact, every snake that was at that roundup that I went to was captive bred. None of them were wild caught. But it was, very interesting. I had a good time down there. One thing I'm a little disappointed is you'd think in a college town like Athens, there'd be lots of good lectures all the time you could go to. And then Augusta's not that far away, and there's a lot of colleges there, and it's just not so. In Ann Arbor, I could go to a different lecture every night if I wanted to on something. It's just not quite like that down here, and they advertise them poorly. Like I know when I lived in Michigan in Ann Arbor, you could sign up for a list, and they'd let you know when a lecture was coming, and you could like plan on it. Here, it's like no emails asked for. It's weird. Same with book fairs. Book fairs down here are a joke. And the bookstores down here are a joke too. Yeah, nothing like Michigan or Chicago. Even Chicago was heading south by the time I left. Yeah. No Wildcott, nope. It's all conservation and, excuse me, pitching how good they are for the environment, and to don't kill them, have them removed and take them someplace else. Alice Walker, who did Color Purple, she's from Eatonton, which is about a half hour away. They had a writers conference down there, and I looked at the CV of the people that were going to be there. I don't really care for that kind of writing anyway, so I didn't go, but it looked pretty Mickey Mouse, and I know they were struggling to get 30 people to sign up. Yeah. Hey, Mary. There's a magazine they publish quarterly out of New York, of all places. It's called the City Journal. I highly recommend you get this. They spell everything out to a T. It's only $6.50 a year. The City Journal, believe me. Not $6.50 a year, $23 a year, $6.50 an issue. If you live around a Barnes and Noble, go up and pick up the current issue. It just sums everything up perfectly. Worth every dime. Hey, Debbie and Dave. Debbie and Dave, those that GoPro 9 gets about 40% more recording at 1080p on the extended battery than the new one. You know what's killing these big cities is a lack of tax revenue and paying pensions. Chicago's in super trouble. I think that's the next city you're going to see go bankrupt. And New York isn't doing too good either. 25% commercial occupancy office space is vacant in Chicago. The Magnificent Mile is all but disappeared, and that's where the crazy money came from for years. That was their golden egg, and they ruined it by not policing it better. It got so bad that the stores that hung in there, they were putting plywood in their windows in an attempt to keep from getting robbed. The Water Tower, which is the country's first vertical mall, was top notch. That was creme de la creme when I lived there. Just a super cool place, just an engineering miracle. The owners of that just walked away from their mortgage 2 years ago. A lot of it's vacant. Oh, they are. Oh, no kidding, huh? Huh. I don't doubt that. There's one of those down in Lake Oconee, Greensboro, which is, these people think they're rich. I mean, they do pretty well, but I wouldn't call them rich. And they've got a Publix down there. And everything, I know the meat is twice as much. I think in another 100 years, things keep going this way. Everything's going to be a gated community, whether you live one or you don't. There's places in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh now. They tell you they're not coming if you call the cops. They can't afford the funding for every single borough there is. Oh, wow. Oh, are they Lakeland based? Huh. Anybody know what the current mortgage rate is? I think it's around 6.2. Twice what it was 3 years ago. That has a hell of a lot to do with new houses being built. And of course, they're trying to tax the last man standing in these big cities like Los Angeles and New York. Hey, Baker Boy. If you own a mansion now, they're looking for these different taxes when you buy them and when you sell them. Yeah, just partying. Yeah, it sure is. Price gouging. There's some places that make a career on it. Whole Foods is an example. They got busted for putting in false charges and selling illegal undersized crab legs. Yeah, food's crazy expensive. Look at red meat as an example. Look at car and house insurance. Oh, no kidding. Yeah, Pepsi and Coke been struggling for a while now. Hey, Tammy, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I did the same thing, yeah. Yeah, it is. Florida's got a problem. So is California. The world's crazy. I shared a couple emails with Jabo today. She's in a tough spot. Oh, yeah, I believe that, Baker Boy, yeah. No, yeah, it was like that when I was down there 30 years ago. Rita, if you knew then what you know now, would you still move to Florida? Oh, good for you. How was that, Mary? Good? Yeah, it sucks. I mean, she'll handle it one way or the other. Oh my God, where do you live, Baker Boy? Oh yeah, I believe that. I see Destin. I've been down there a few times. I was just down there about 6 months ago. I stay in Dothan, Alabama, and drive down there. That's a good fishing place. Just stick around and watch, Mary. We're not gonna write you an essay on what we talk about. Oh, I know they do. Yeah, I know. No, yeah, yep. I believe it. Do you know Eric, the goat guy? He's from Destin, Florida. Guy that was running around with a goat before. Now he's renamed his channel something. Do you know him? Yeah, it is. Just roll the dice. Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a problem with a lot of people in places where this ridiculous inflation has happened. I know people that have sold their homes and moved because the house is paid for and they can't afford the insurance and taxes on a fixed income. Yeah, Destin's really nice. A great place to fish if you're into that. It's only a 20-mile ride up before that shelf drops and you're into deep water, where everywhere else you got to be on a boat for eternity. No, get lost, Mary. She's already starting bullshit. See, this is another form of trolling. Another way you can do it. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you sure are. If you're hanging around a few minutes, we're gonna talk about swinging in about 15 minutes. You want to stick around? That's it, Baker boy. Yeah, that sounds about right down there in Destin. Yeah, 3,400. Yeah, that's about right. Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, outrageous. You used to get good insurance rates when you didn't have a bunch of claims. Not anymore. Your insurance is pretty stiff even without claims, and you're scared to death to turn one in. Oh, you would? Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. If you got into a place, you've been there 30 years, you're looking at appreciation if you want to get out. All of a sudden, you can't afford insurance and taxes, and your house has been paid for 10 years. Nuts. Port St. Joe? I'm not sure where you mean. I'm not a big fan of Florida. I don't mind going down there and jacking around down in Jupiter or Melbourne a couple times a year, or maybe down to Key West every 10 years, but I do not want to live there. No way. You couldn't give me a house there. I lived in Orlando for a while, lived in West Palm Beach for a while. You can shove them all. Yeah. Yeah, Panama City. Yeah, I mean the water down there is beautiful. You see the housing prices on Panama City property? It's nuts. I see they just tore down a famous restaurant there the other day. Or maybe that was in Destin. It was either in Destin or Panama City. Panama City, I think. I know. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah. And it looks like those people made out when that condo collapsed down there in wherever the hell that was. Wasn't that down in Miami? But, that may not be the case if they wanted to continue to live there. I read an article. They say if you live in Hawaii, I mean, try and find a Hawaiian living on the water. Hard to do. Oh, yeah, that's all over, Rita. That's all over. You just look at the restaurants failing everywhere. I lived in Ann Arbor a couple different times in my life, and it's a nice town. Uh, but there was nice restaurants. It's a good quality place to live. It's been voted the top place to live in the country. Not that that means a damn thing. So is Naperville, Illinois. I mean, there's a few places that, are good places, but it's just super expensive. And there was a big article online that said basically the lunch crowd has disappeared in downtown Ann Arbor. And they've tried everything they can think of to lure people back like the old days. It's just not happening there. And they're starting to do what a lot of people have done since COVID, and they don't open till 5. They're not open for lunch. There's no money in it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I would have denied that 10 years ago, but who knows? You want to read about a company that funds a lot of, like, basically civil terrorism? Read the Ford Foundation. Read up about the Ford Foundation. They felt that years ago their philosophy was to tear down society as it exists to create an equal playing field amongst the poor. And they're big on campaigns with cops killing people and fossil fuel and anything they can think of. Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty far-fetched, but if you read some of these programs this Ford Foundation funds, it doesn't sound so way out there. No, the Ford Foundation they claim to be an endowment that makes the world a better place. Ford Motor Company started it, but they just can't distance themselves far away from it now. Even Henry Ford II, Edsel Ford realized they fucked up in interviews that they'd given. Read about it, man. It's a dangerous outfit. They stir up a lot of this Middle East problems here in the United States. Fun places. You got somebody going and throwing Molotov cocktails through windows places, it's a good chance they're behind funding their organization. Yeah, it is interesting. Hey, waiting. All these disruptive demonstrations. Hey, Robin. There's 2 raccoons fighting under the bird feeder. Good. Stephanie sends her love. Yeah, when I first moved down to Florida, I was living out West Palm Beach, and I had a guy take me for a tour of Palm Beach, which is like apples and oranges compared to West Palm Beach. And after we got there, I mean, the house is 150 million. Just look at the houses over there. It's pretty interesting that people have this kind of money. There's people over there with $200,000 a year property taxes. But anyway, you look over there and just the architecture, and their landscaping bill is probably 20 grand a month. And at the end of the thing, he said, "What do you think?" It's like, man, wow, unbelievable, man. People can afford this kind of stuff, 10 maids on staff all the time, that kind of thing. He said, "Do you realize how many people got fucked by the people that own those homes?" Yeah, speaks volumes. Hear those raccoons fighting? I guess Trump, he claims Florida's home now, and they've got a big, giant, these billionaires don't take being talked down to very well. They got a big section of that South Ocean Boulevard, which goes by his place, blocked off, and you got to like drive around. And they're trying to get something done about it. And the Secret Service is telling them to pound sand. Yeah, they do sound like that. They sound like dogs growling. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Tammy, you been up to Taos much? Yeah, well, there's no food on the porch, which is good. If you leave a bag of seed out here, or something, corn or something that we give the deer, you can almost guarantee in the morning there's going to be a hole ripped in the bottom and something was eaten out of the bottom of it. I didn't realize it until, down here, but how well squirrels can smell. They say they can smell a female in heat 2 miles away. I didn't know that. I do know this too, the Kirtland warbler, Kirtland, was like the world's rarest warbler for a while. They brought it back. It's been taken off the endangered species list. But anyway, they put cameras up trying to like figure out why these things were, dropping off other than habitat loss. And it was surprising how many red squirrels and gray squirrels were eating the top of the heads off baby birds. They put video cameras inside the nest in the enclosure. I didn't know that squirrels ate meat. Oh, good for you, Tammy. Yeah, well, I think in the whole scheme of things, I mean, who knows how many they eat. I've read a couple studies like that. They found out stuff accidentally. I know they did a study one time on tracking white-tailed deer in the spring, and they couldn't believe how many bobcats were eating fawns. Tammy, you didn't get too much winter where you live, did you? As far as snow accumulation? Yeah, I mean, I did mostly fraud. There's no money in that other stuff. They say that less than 1% of PIs make a living at it, which I believe. I mean, I used to have Yellow Page listings in like all the big cities in Michigan, and they'd all ring at the office in Dearborn. And I'll bet that I didn't get 3 cases a year from calls because I advertised from non-corporations. Just a waste of time. These guys get their PI license. They think they're going to... Back in the day before it was no fault, there was something in it. If you caught your husband screwing a secretary, it would affect your divorce. And not anymore. No fault, doesn't matter. You could have 1,000 hours of him screwing a secretary and it doesn't do you any good. So they're win a big chunk of the pie for that kind of market. Usually now, if you're following a spouse, it's just because somebody is killing them to know who it is, not because it makes any sense legally. And you can charge an insurance company $1,500 a day all day long for a straight month. They don't bat an eye whether you find out something or whether you don't. You charge some lady or guy a couple grand and you don't have 10 minutes up and banging on top of a picnic table. They think you ripped them off and you don't know what you're doing. They don't realize that even affairs that are fairly active, a lot of luck is involved in catching them. No. Oh, you don't like snow, huh? Oh, okay. Oh, attorney jobs? Nah, I worked with a lot of attorneys, mainly to keep the reports from being available through discovery. If I send it to you, it's available through a subpoena. If I send it to an attorney, it's privileged work product, and nobody gets a copy of it. No, prosecutors, none. They never use PIs that I know of. No. And they got a lot of back-to-work programs now for workers' comp, slip and falls, tort reform. Now you got to have foreseeability. In other words, in the old days, you could go in and say, I busted my ass on a banana peel in Kroger's. Nowadays, for your case to go anywhere, you've got to prove that they knew the banana peel was there and didn't do anything about it. So you've got to get a hold of some records that show the banana peel was there and they ignored it, which is pretty difficult to do. It's the same with tort reform for malpractice. No, I mean, the PIs were probably doing something out there, but not like the old days. And even when I did it, it was super hard to, like, make it as a PI. I mean, I marketed the work that I wanted. I eventually went to unlisted numbers because I didn't want the public calling me. I marketed the work that I wanted to do. I didn't, and if I didn't market it, I didn't want to do the work. Hey, Pug. You know, I only had 50% battery when I signed on, so if it dies, it doesn't really give me a warning on a live because the battery indicator's covered up with the screen. That's right. Yeah, I deleted a file. It shouldn't have happened. I'm doing a recovery thing. I bought a recovery program last year. I got that COVID once and was just doing some stupid ass shit and deleted some files. So I bought a recovery program, recover the files. It takes a while. You gotta it's a bunch of bullshit, really. It's not like you just push a button. Well, anyhow, I got about 2 hours and 10 minutes of a really good storm today. And the way it works, sometimes they're too big of files to save. Like if I have a 4K file and I use that Canon, it's a good video, clear video, good sound, but it's also about 250 gigabytes, which is a ton of space. So I don't save those videos. It just can't, man. You'd be out of space in a week. So what I try and do is directly upload it off an SD card. I never save the file and then re-upload it. So it was like, if you look, there's a 20-minute one over there. And I did another one, the long one, the 220-minute. So I came back from getting something to eat and it said checking file. Well, usually when you get to the checking file, it's YouTube checking after the upload's complete. And they check it before they start processing it to make sure there's something on it that it doesn't like. Well, that usually means the file's all the way uploaded. So I saw that, and it said checking like 10%, another 10 seconds. I could have waited, but I didn't. And I deleted it. And the second I deleted it, it said cannot upload file. So I'm recovering that right now, which is a pain in the ass. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's be careful what you wish for. There were times during my PI career, I would have women call me, and I know talking to me, I would find out later through other people that I talked to. It's like, hey, Sally said you got a really nice voice, and she can't wait to meet you. And it's like, oh yeah, and then Sally'd meet me. It's like, fuck, that's not what I was expecting. There's another famous DJ in Detroit. Alan Allman was his name. Did this Pillow Talk show. He had what I guess women considered a nice sounding voice. And he made sure that nobody ever saw him. A smart move. Excuse me. The voices can be very deceiving. There was a controller that air traffic controller that worked at Ann Arbor, that used to work the afternoon shift. They closed at 11. And I did a lot of night flying. I'd take off. I like flying in bad weather and at night. I don't know why. I always did. And I would take off late, and she'd always say, there was nobody around, right? Hardly anybody there. And she'd say, boy, well, you sure you want to take off tonight, going out in that darkness? Like, yeah. I'd fly, shoot a couple of approaches, maybe 100 miles away. You're in an airplane, you're going fast. I just love doing it, especially in the winter. And we kind of got to know each other. And she kept inviting me up. And, she sounded like the greatest voice in the world. And there was a place you could land in a field down in Ohio. They plowed it under because of insurance reasons. And I used to go down there and land and get something to eat. A lot of airplanes did. It was what was deemed a private airstrip. Well, anyway, they had famous pies, and somehow it got back to her that I would go down there. And she said if I was ever down there to get her a pecan pie. So I got her a pecan pie and delivered it to her one day, and it's like, I don't think so. I mean, actually, it looked like she probably ate a pecan pie every day of the week for 20 years. Yeah, I know it. That's not the first time. But, that's the whole difference. It's like anything in life, right? You give them the pie, hope they like it, and never go up there again. Peter Thomas, yeah. Yeah, he had a great voice. Peter Thomas did. Sure did. He did tons of voiceovers for a ton of stuff. Good guy, too. I think there's some YouTube videos of him being interviewed. He just died here a few years ago. He was working right until he died. I think it was 92 or something. She did have a nice voice, yeah. I owned my own airplanes, yeah. I owned 4 airplanes over the years. I couldn't afford one now. Shit, these beginning airplanes now are like 650 grand stripped down. The days of owning I had a Cherokee 6 that I bought for $59,000. I remember my wife saying, that's more than we paid for our first house. And I had it 3 years and sold it for $89,000. That's before airplanes went crazy. That same airplane now is about 380 grand because they quit making them. Forget that. Fuel is expensive. There's only about 3 companies writing aviation insurance. It's just, I'm glad I did it when I did. It's just like turning into the UK now. You got to be rich to fly a plane. Back in the day when I did it, you could be like a PI or a house painter or a electrician, something like that. I mean, you had to have a decent job, but you didn't need to be rich. Good night, Blue. Good nighty night. Yeah, voiceovers. There are people that do them. There's a lady on YouTube that does a lot of them. That's competitive, though. I don't know if I could or not. There's a lot of good voices out there. Yeah. Too bad women didn't do the sex lines like the men do. There were a lot of jokes out at the time when those things were around, those 800 sex lines. With the women, the requirement was that they had to weigh 400 pounds, which is possible. Yeah, it's a lot of people like those sounds in the back. Rita likes them as well. I don't even know what those things are, really, making the noise. But they do it all the time, all summer long. It is definitely not quiet. I mean, if they had this kind of noise like where bears and stuff lived, they could sneak up on you. It's so loud. It's that loud. No, I don't think they're peepers. That's different, higher pitched. I see those peepers. They're little tiny frogs. They're long gone by now. Oh, no kidding, huh? You know, I noticed a few weeks ago when I was taking a walk at night with the flashlight, we got a rain, it was warm, and there were just literally, I'm not kidding you, thousands of baby toads for like a 2-mile stretch running all over around the road. They're everywhere. In the spring, as you know, things ramp up for birds. The bird noise is deafening too. Birds singing and stuff. Yeah, I believe it, man. It's hard to get like places like this. I mean, I hope I live here till I die. I mean, I thought I was going to die everywhere I lived. You know, I thought, oh, this is great. You know, put a lot into deciding to move there and build this and do that. Yeah, I mean, I'm running out of time now, so I hope it works out that way. Because this is like very unusual in this day and age. And even down here, you know, where I live in like the third from the brokest county in the whole state of Georgia, you know, you still need about 800 grand to buy 200 acres like this. Just for the property, which is nuts. Now the taxes are cheap, but that's a lot of money for like that you're not getting a return on. So there are not too many people doing this, you know. I mean, if I had to live in Crawfordville, unrelated to a place like this, uh, I'd probably hate it. I am very lucky. Yeah, I sure am. I appreciate it too. And like anything else, it's like you'll see someone that gets torn up in a car wreck or an airplane crash, and you think, man, you're really grateful that you're not in their shoes and their injuries bother them the rest of their life. Yeah, I try to remind myself of that every day. It's never like quite being that way, but believe me, I'm well aware of what I got. But I will tell you this, and it'll surprise you, and that is that this took getting used to. I mean, West Branch seems like New York City compared to this place. I could never get these sound videos and these long videos without a police siren in the back or a car squealing its tires or something, even though it was a rural area. So I am lucky in that regard. But a couple times I seriously considered just going back to Michigan. Yes, our groceries are taxed, yeah. Yep. Only certain things, though. I forget what it is. Maybe the food's not, something's not taxed. Yeah, I got really lucky down here. But, it's a unique situation. I mean, uh, you can make your house whatever you want. But, man, I was thinking that the other day. What if I had to, like, end up back, like, in an apartment somewhere? It's like, oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, last night, I got a big couch on my porch as well as I don't even know what the material is. Everybody says it's ugly, but it's the most comfortable. It looks like couch and chair. They match, and it's got a footstool. It looks like something that you'd see in like a children's book, like a big, puffy, giant, artist-styled couch. And actually, we got a lot of moisture down here, so every day I spray it with this thing that kills mildew, because I was going to bring it inside, but I'm going to leave it outside. And last night, it was so beautiful. When you lay on that couch, you can look up at the roof line. I have 15-foot ceilings. You could lay on that couch. It's just like this. You don't need a cover, and you can see the stars passing the roof line. You can see the line. And I thought, what, I'm going to stay out here tonight and sleep out here. And there are no mosquitoes down here. I mean, you might have a bug run across you, but that doesn't bother me. So anyway, I go get my pillow, and I get a light blanket, and I go out there, and I'm there about a half hour. And it was just a little too humid to do it because we got a little breeze out of the east, which came right across the porch. And I pulled up my cover over me just a little bit, and I felt it like kind of sticky. So it wasn't too hot, but it was too humid. And I thought, if I fuck around here all night long, I'm going to get a shitty night's sleep. So I went inside to the air conditioning, which runs all the time on a 95-degree day in a brand new, heavily insulated place. And, shut my eyes and get a good night's sleep. I didn't want to, experiment, feel like crap. But I know the fall will be perfect for sleeping on that couch. And the skies are brighter. Yeah. And it's so comfortable. You don't even need, a pillow, really. You can, lay your head back, and you can read, and you can hear all these sounds, and, there's no noise except nature. Yeah, when it gets cooler, it'll be nice. That's exactly right. I plan to be out there a lot. Yeah, I do. No screen either. It's crazy. I'm sitting out here right now, no bugs. Which is also why I didn't want a pond. There's really no water source around here for mosquitoes to lay eggs. I mean, it did rain today, but usually it dries up pretty quick. It just don't have bugs. That's not to say 2 cockroaches won't have a 6-inch race across my forehead at night. I mean, I guess that can happen, but that doesn't really bother me, believe it or not. Yeah, you can sit on there and look up at the sky and just see zillions of stars without bending your neck or looking over or having some weird thing or sitting up in a chair. It's unbelievable, man. You don't want to leave. Even in the daytime when it's hot, I am totally shaded. I took this into consideration when I built that long porch. Totally shaded, even in the highest deck angle of the sun by noon. Now, because the days are getting shorter, 11 o'clock. So at 11 o'clock, you can be out there without the sun beating on you. Now, one little down point is I've been kind of in a going to bed early, getting up early. And what happens is I get up early and I want to have my coffee on that couch, but it's too damn hot. Once that sun breaks the trees at about 9:30, it'll broil your ass right there. But it's only for an hour and a half. But that just happens to be the time I get up and want to sit there. So I've got a deck on the back porch too. It's not as good a view, but I'm going to get some kind of chair back there because the sun never hits there. No, very little light pollution. Yeah, hardly any at all. There is a guy, if you look at that V when I do a lot of those porch videos, there's a guy that owns a house over there that keeps this light on all night. But it's, of course, pointing down. Probably gives a little light pollution, but it's not very noticeable. I'm going to plant another tree there. But no, there's not much from the city of Crawfordville. I think only 300 people live in town. There's no big city. The closest big city is Augusta, and that's 60 miles away to the east. Like tonight, I can see, even on a night when it's dark, like I can see like light, wispy, thin clouds. The stars are coming in and out of them. Yeah, light pollution's a problem. There's a famous place in Sharon where these Astro people live. It's a whole neighborhood. You go on there with you pull in there with your lights on, you get the death penalty. No outside porch lights, nothing. Total dark all the time. It's a name of a place. If you look up Sharon, Georgia, Astronomy Club, and there's 2 world famous astronomers that live there. One of them does work like for the government of photographing planets. You'd be surprised when you consider NASA how much good shit is found out by amateurs. I'm not kidding you. You'd think with the Hubble Space Telescope and up circling the moon, landing on it and all that stuff, they'd have this discovery thing covered, but there's a lot of amateurs that find out stuff that NASA surprised. When I lived in Chicago, of course, that was the world's worst light pollution, but it looked beautiful. I lived north of downtown, had the most beautiful view on the 32nd floor. And you'd be surprised. Now, I knew this already, but a lot of birds migrate at night, and a lot of bugs migrate at night. Those stink bugs? I've been out on my balcony before in Chicago where like 10,000 of them would land on the balcony on their way somewhere, taking a rest, looking for some water. Then they'd all take off. A lot of insects migrate at night. And I'm talking about like up high. I had a beehive up there actually until the management found out about it. They threatened to fine me $2,000 a day if I didn't get it out of there in 3 days. They said that people said they would get a hold of me and said, "Do I have a lot of bees on my porch?" I said, "You better believe it. They're all over the place." And they said, "Okay, thanks a lot. We've been getting a lot of reports of bees." They were flying, but it was a very active hive that did well. Yeah, they are. Yeah, try and tell people that don't like them that, or people that suffer from anaphylactic shock. I mean, you shouldn't have had bees up there. I get it. I'm a big pet lover, like animals. But I'll tell you, I don't really think it's a good idea to be bringing pets everywhere. I'm in Home Depot. I mean, if you got an allergy to them or a phobia or whatever, when I go in Home Depot looking for stuff, I shouldn't have to worry about a St. Bernard right next to me with his owner. I just don't think it's good. I don't like it. I mean, I like dog-friendly places where if you're outside, you can eat a sandwich, your dog's under the shade of the table, drinking water. But having these dogs go in all these places, I'm not really for it. We've got this Joro spider down here. I saw 2 of them last summer. Joro. Good night, Debbie and Dave. Just beautiful insects. They are venomous, but the venom doesn't hurt people. You know, they're in another invasive species. They make a big deal about them around here. Joro spiders. Yeah, that's what I think that too, Rita. And I know you're a big animal lover. It's just a certain type person, you know. But a lot of places you can bring them. Like, I'm surprised. I guess that's big in the UK, bringing dogs in bars and stuff. I'm just not for it. You know, I don't really like it. I know when I first moved down to Florida, you'd take a dog on a beach down there, man. You're lucky you didn't get the death penalty. Now it's like they're all over the place, dog beaches. I'd like to know how many pets drown because of these riptides. I guarantee it's happening somewhere. Dogs getting caught in these riptides. It catches people, it catches dogs. I haven't read any stories, but I know it happens. No, I don't either. I agree. It's true. When I first moved down there, I was somewhere on the East Coast, north of Jupiter, and there was a big, like, steakhouse that had been vacant, and the property was for sale. They wanted like $3 million for it then. It's a beautiful piece of property, though. And there was a beach there, nobody around, for sale sign. So I had a couple pit bulls, and I threw a damn stick out there, and my big male pit bull went out there, and that son of a bitch struggled to get back to shore. And then, you know, as of now, I know a lot more than I knew then. I should have never thrown that stick in the water under those conditions. I just thought, you know, he'll cool off. He likes doing it, and I knew he liked water. But it probably took him 10 minutes to swim 50 yards back to the beach. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, piping plovers, they're up in Taos. They shut down the beach for that. They even shut it down for people. Piping plovers. I know they were down to like 18 pair for a while. I don't know what they're at now. Yeah, you're right, Rena. Yep. You know, piping plover, they were getting it from all ways, you know, storms. You know, the damn things lay their eggs on a damn beach out in the open. Same with those killdeer. I'm surprised there's any of them left. And what used to be the world's rarest warbler, the Kirtland warbler, Kirtland, that damn thing lays its eggs on the ground. Shit, no wonder you're going extinct. Lays its eggs on the ground. Does that make any sense? I'm surprised there's any left anywhere. You know, I can understand a damn chicken or something laying an egg on the ground, but a bird like that? Build a nest. You ever go fishing down there, Baker Boy? Destin? And there's a lot of birds, too, that just don't want to be around people. There's a hawk down here. A something winged hawk. Short-winged or broad-winged or something like that. Broad-winged hawk, I think. You hardly ever see them because they hate people. It's like, shit, no wonder they're still around. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Oh, okay. See, tonight it's really quiet, no wind. I can hear a jet way up there. The big heavy jets, the ones that take nonstop flights to like Turkey, Spain, Italy, they're leaving Atlanta full of fuel, full of bags, people, gross weight, take off. And they're still climbing. I'm 90 miles east of Atlanta. They're usually at about 25,000 feet climbing. And those are the ones I hear. They're not full power, but at max power for the best climb. And I bet that plane, if I checked my thing right now, it's a transatlantic flight or going somewhere in Europe. Oh, I believe it. Yeah, it is. I got 15% power, so I think that's about 5 minutes. Yeah, up at Smoky Mountain National Park, which is a couple hundred miles from here, that's the most biodiverse park in the country, believe it or not. But they have synchronous fireflies. Popular, of course, but they all flash at the same time. Georgia's got places where they've got record bass. I'm actually surprised I got this much time on a live with a 50% battery. Oh, really? Yeah, they have them up there in Smoky Mountains. That's the top park for people dying. Believe it or not, car wrecks and drownings. And you go up there, I cut through there on my way to Detroit. You think, how the hell is anybody getting a car wreck here? I mean, it's hairpin turns. Hey, Frisky. There's another jet I can hear. Good night, Rita. Party on. No, they did not come back for dinner. And normally, I think the babies were here this morning, 2 blacks. Marty fed them. They'll come back, but they're getting. See, we never had the luxury of the babies. Well, usually when the babies fledged, that was it. Parents would be gone a couple days later, and you wouldn't see them again until breeding season in February. Now, they do migrate, but not like you're thinking, like from Florida to Michigan, that kind of thing. It's really kind of a mystery on black vultures where they go. But anyway, this is a treat for them to be around that long, and I suspect that any day now that we won't see them for quite a while. They say that these, babies from prior years, they still get together and socialize. And sometimes the parents will supplement their feeding for up to 2 years. So maybe they go to where the other babies live now. I don't know. I'd love to know where they go. Hey, Lucid. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, no kidding, Robin. The brown bats, weren't those the bats that were getting white nose disease? And I know there was a big controversy when I was cutting through Indiana one time. They were trying to cut down these trees, and bunch of people are out there protesting that the brown bats nested there. They ended up cutting them down. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I see there's a couple out here that catch bugs at night under that light behind me. I don't know what those are, to tell you the truth, for sure. I'm not really sure what's making that noise. Whatever it is, they're out every night, all night. They'll quit doing this about 3 a.m. And I don't have much power left, so when it goes off, that's why. Oh, okay. Yeah, I looked up bats, trying figuring out which ones were under the light here. There's only two kinds of bats that are around here. I think it is a brown bat. Yeah, those fruit bats are cool. You see them eating fruit on YouTube? Yeah, they do. They eat like an apple. There's something they really like, apples or something. They're cute, or carrots or something. You know, I remember that some kids got in trouble for doing it. You know, if you take a woman's nylons and you put a rock in it and throw it up in the air, that the bats will follow and get caught in the nylon. I remember some teenagers got in trouble for doing that someplace. Yeah, maybe it's banana. Yeah, bananas. That's what it is. Bananas. Yeah, they're cute. You're right. Yeah, those are people that work at rehab places for those kind of bats. Yeah, they're cute. They're all wrapped up like in a little blanket. Oh, that's cool. Have you ever watched slow motion video on those? You know, early on, before technology got where it is today, it looked like bats were just flying recklessly in the air and just like hoping for the best. So it turned out that's a carefully choreographed flight plan. I wonder how they keep those bats from imprinting on people. Yeah, I don't know. That's isn't that bad for you if you breathe it? I know they use it for fertilizer some places. Yeah, that'd be cool. Fruit bats. Oh, it is. Oh, okay. Huh. I was at Carlsbad Cameron's one time when they all took off. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a cool place. Well, I think I'm just going to sign off, you guys, because I know it's going to shut off any minute anyway. So have a good night. Thanks for coming on. Party on. See, there's something else fighting. Hear him fighting? You too. All right, you party on.